And we did some I's and T's, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. So we shall let Chairman go on, and at some point get the opportunity. You'll be prepared to tell me those I's and T's. Karibu, Chairman.
Yeah,
Thank you
ready.
so much, Reverend. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the technical hitch. Our spirit has always been, if you are knocked out, please come back as quickly as you can, so that we can be able to continue. Otherwise, let's just move on. We'll continue with the interaction as we move on. So we are handling lesson 3. I trust you have your manual with you ready. Yeah, so lesson 3, we are on page number 15. Okay, so leadership development models. The first level 1, we are trying to ground ourselves in terms of self-awareness, and also in terms of how we are able to shape our growth as leaders. Later on in level 3, we'll discuss about personal development and growth. But at this initial stage, we just need to understand ourselves more clear, in a more deeper way, so that we are able to identify the models that fits us. Yeah, so as we'll be seeing from today's session, it will be more of a lot of reflection. And as we share the knowledge on different models, we're also trying to reflect on ourselves. So to kick on the session, let me share this story. Maybe some of you who managed to attend the open day, I shared this story, but this is a very interesting and a very informative story that we keep on repeating because of the message. Now, J.F. Kennedy, the 35th president of US, visited NASA at some point. And therefore, this story is between J.F. Kennedy and the janitor. Janitor is the guy mopping there, a cleaner. And NASA, you can see there is someone there focusing on space exploration. These are guys who do a lot of space exploration, sending people to the moon, among many other ventures. So the president visited NASA, and when he was touring around, he met this cleaner, and he introduced himself to the cleaner, and the cleaner was mopping the floor. And the president asked him one question: what are you doing at NASA? What are you doing at NASA? This is the president, visited maybe your organization, has visited your institution, has met a cleaner, or he has met you undertaking your role, and he poses a question to you: what are you doing in this organization? Can you guess probably what was the response from this janitor? Possible response from this janitor. And since we are not many, if you can unmute and just share instead of chatting, that is still okay. What do you think this janitor replied? The possible response from the janitor. So anybody, either Pastor Felix, Lillian, or Gerald, you can take a guess. I can take one or maybe two, or even if you want to send on the chat, that is also still okay. Yes, Pastor Felix, I can see you have unmuted.
Yeah, I think the response was,
yeah,
the person, it was
yeah, I didn't get clear.
Sweeping is like he's holding a broom. maybe the answer was I'm a sweeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I do manual work.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Clearly from what he was doing, I'm sure even maybe he would have just taken a guess. The president can see what I'm doing. Yeah, of course, I'm sweeping. So I take that also, that is true. Lillian or Gerald, any comment? Can take a guess the response of this janitor to the president?
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, my answer could be I'm trying to make a difference despite what I'm doing. Inaonekana in a way like is doing a low job and all that.
Yeah.
But in each and everything in that thing is doing is making a difference because that company needed him.
Yeah.
As much they need a manager and all that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so I'm making a difference in this company. Yeah, so Gerald, are you able to hear me? Maybe we can take your answer also. Okay, I think maybe he's still trying to settle down. Now, look at this. This is what the janitor said. I'm helping put a man on the moon. Yeah, it's true. I'm sweeping. It's true. I'm mopping. It is true. I'm doing a very manual work. But this cleaner or this janitor, he had a clear understanding of the overall vision of the organization. And he also understood his part in it. And he had a purpose for what the role that he was undertaking. Yeah, and this is really a very powerful message to us as leaders and also to the people that we are leading. Because the moment we reduce what we are doing to a role, then we lose the big.
Which one do you remember? The chairman is back. Chairman is back. So, okay, just to share your screen. And we go on there. We had just read the janitor who is trying to give an answer to the president. I'm helping put up. Go on, Chairman.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I'm trying to work on a different alternate connection because I'm seeing there's a big challenge today. So, yes, the vision, my part, and the purpose. I think this is really a very important message to us, as I was saying, and to the people that we are leading. The moment we lose the big picture, then we try to scale down whatever we are doing to a role. But it's not about the role, it's about the purpose and it's about the vision. So this is a clear message, even as we undertake this program, that we just want to upscale ourselves to a level where we look at issues from a bigger picture perspective. And as we focus on leadership development models, I just want to state that planning our personal growth and judicially executing the plan is very paramount to us as a leader. Because without a commitment to a planned personal growth, any growth that occurs will be circumstantial rather than intentional. Yeah. So we just don't want to grow based on circumstance, but we want to grow on purpose. As leaders, this is the mindset that we work with and we embrace, so that personal growth, the high and the priority that is given, we are able to walk through a very intentional plan. And as we take our journey through personal growth, we are looking from the leadership pyramid. I trust you can remember the leadership pyramid. And the base starts with leading self. So developing your personal mastery and authentic leadership. And this is what I said we're focusing on, especially on level 1. Just trying to master and understand myself. a self-awareness, maybe a 360 feedback process. And this is something that I will encourage you to consider undertaking. You're able to get feedback from a 360 dimension, from the top, from the lower level, and also from the peers, just to be able to get an understanding of yourself in a more deeper way. And also the values, the purpose and core values, and the connection. So from leading myself, from understanding myself, from building myself, then to leading people, developing relationship mastery and interpersonal excellence. Also deploying other people into the arena of leadership, and then we move all the way to leading the organization. So this is the mindset in terms of our growth. And in the first model that we look at, to be able to understand and contextualize what I've just explained from leading self and that hierarchy of growth, we look at what we call the iceberg leadership development model. So that as a leader, I make sure I'm growing both in terms of these two dimensions. The iceberg represents two parts. And the first part is the smaller part, which is at the peak. And this is what we refer to as the hard skills. Yes, the teachable, the measurable abilities, maybe the technical skill. If I'm an IT person, or if I'm an accountant, I grow in a way that I'm able to have mastery in that area, maybe professional skills. If I'm a teacher, whatever field you are in, you're able to master the skills, the knowledge, and also the experience. But now that is a smaller portion of the growth or the iceberg. There is a bigger portion, which is lower, on the lower side. And this is the hidden part of the growth process. And these are the soft skills. And the soft skills, we're talking about the traits that make you a good leader or a good employee or a good business person. These are issues to do with the communication, the listening ability, the emotional intelligence, the social intelligence, the integrity, the values, the beliefs, all these things that are so intrinsic to a person. They are so personal that they deal with the heart set of a person. So if we look at this, as I've just pointed out, that the iceberg mirrors the concept of competency development. And 1/9 is what we can see, but the other portion is down there. So as we look at this from the manual, we are talking about leadership is a function that requires, there are some clear requirement or some clear aspect that we require to be able to fulfill or perform the function of leadership. So there's some gaps there, which you can probably take your time to fill. The first one is the will to lead. And the will to lead, this is the heart set. It's the heart. We are looking at the heart. And this will be married to the lower part of the iceberg model. So the first component is the will to lead. As a leader, we require the knowledge to lead, the skills, and also the sacrifice to lead, or the trade-off. Yeah. So how do we place this into the iceberg? But before that, we look at the growth mindset. As a leader, in the growth mindset, we must ensure that we are growing in terms of the mindset, in terms of the heart set, that is the belief and the will, and also the skill set, just sharpening our abilities, maybe to do with communication and collaboration and all kind of skills that helps us to become a better leader. Now look at this, the iceberg model, and you can see the 20%, which is at the top, focuses on issues of knowledge and skills. So good, this is good, but it's limited. Information regarding education, experience, skills, and also maybe your gut. So we are looking at what you have grown in terms of education and in terms of experience. That is the 20% of your growth, of my growth as a leader. But the base there, the personal essence, how I think as a leader, my motive as a leader, how I see myself, the social image, the self-image, the social role. Lillian talked about making a difference. Yeah, so the social role in terms of leading the people. So the 80% is very, very important because it impacts highly on the 20%. So you might find people who are very well equipped in terms of the hard skills, but if they miss out on the soft skill, it really impacts them. And this is why you see there are leaders out there who are very good. They have risen to the ladder of maybe hierarchy leadership in organization or management, but you find there are some gaps, especially in terms of how they treat people and deal with people. And this is basically influenced by the 80%. So the 80% is the mindset, the attitude, the perception, the belief, the values, the principles, the traits, the motive, my motive as a leader, the cause, what is the cause for my leadership? So these are very pertinent issues and are very, very important that determines how I lead as a leader. So if I bring this together with what we call the triangle of success or success triangle. The success triangle talks about the 3 key ingredients of success. Success either in leadership or success in life in general. And what we require is that you need to be knowledgeable, probably in the area of in a particular field. You also need to develop the skills. You also need to make sure that you're also growing in terms of the attitude. So if you flip this, you can place it and marry it with the iceberg model. So the knowledge and the skills will be on the 20%, and then the attitude will be on the 80%. So in general, we are saying as a leader, I need to make sure that I'm growing in terms of my knowledge, my skills, and also I'm working on myself in terms of that internal reflection of myself, and which informs how I'm able to treat people. There's an author called Tony Robbins, and he says that success in life is 80% psychology, that is how I think, and 20% mechanics. What you do does not matter if you are not in the right mindset. And I think this is really a clear message to us as leaders. So if you look at this, this expands the success triangle. And the skills we are talking about, am I good in terms of probably goal settings, in terms of time management, in terms of communication, in terms of interpersonal skills. Attitude, we are looking at what is my motivation, self-motivation, self-confidence, the issues to do with integrity, honesty, optimism, enthusiasm, cooperative or collaboration, commitment. Those are aspects of attitudes. And then knowledge, we're talking about information, maybe the facts of leadership, the facts of my field, the basics. So as we grow and as we focus on this program, we'll be addressing these areas. We'll be addressing the issues of knowledge. We'll be looking at skills because we have a topic on communication and also character. Yeah, so we'll be dealing with these 3 areas as we walk. Now, the second model of leadership development. Yes. Let's request we all mute. Yeah, so the second model of leadership development is what we call the 80-20 leadership development model. And this is based on a principle referred to as the Pareto principle. And it states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of consequences comes from 20% of the causes. Just think about that 80% of the consequences comes from the 20% of the courses. So 80% of my output, or 80% of my life, is dictated by the 20% of the courses or the decisions that I make. Yeah, but as we look at this, I want to bring it and marry it with the thoughts of Carl Van. Carl Van is an author. He's authored a book titled The Making of Exceptional Performers, looking at the attitude, ability, and the 80-20 rule. And this is what he says, that performance or leadership is 80% attitude toward a job. So you see the marriage between this and the iceberg model. So 80% is basically the attitude or the motive or the personal essence of a person. And these are qualities that we develop with the time. And then performance or leadership is 20% skills, knowledge, and experience. So as an individual, performance is more closely linked to how I perceive and describe my role, either as a leader or an employee or a business person, than what I know or what I do. Yeah, I think that's a statement that we may want to just reflect on it, that an individual performance is more closely linked to how they perceive and think and describe their job than what they know or they can do. Yeah. So in essence, at the end of it all, what we know is highly impacted by how we think and how we look at what we do, or how we are able to put into practice whatever we have learned. And that is why 80% attitude significantly impacts on the 20% skills. So as we grow, and the essence here is that we need to consider this 80% very important. Yeah, very important. And this program, we've tried to shift not so much on the 20%. So we'll talk less about leadership styles, leadership types. We will not put a lot of emphasis on that, but we want to put a lot of emphasis on our own thinking about leadership, our own purpose about leadership, our own motive about leadership, because of the importance of and the impact it has on the 20%. So attitude directly impacts performance as a leader and also job satisfaction. So on the 80-20 leadership development model, we are saying leadership quality is 80% personal essence. What is personal essence? My mindset, my heart set, my attitude, my values, my traits, my motives, and 20% skill set or my knowledge base, which we can also refer to as aptitude. So for me or for you as an effective leader, I need to prioritize 20% effort or inputs on development of skills, knowledge, actions, activities, or strength, or even attitude that gives 80% output. This is another perspective on how we look at the Pareto rule. Yeah, the Pareto rule, we can also look at it from this perspective. We can shift it from just the 80-20, but we look at what are the 20% input or 20% skills or knowledge that gives me the most output, the most output. Yeah, so basically, when you operate in your area of strength, then with little effort, you get more results. When you operate from a point of knowledge, then with little effort, as 20% effort, I'm able to harvest 80% results. And that's why Ecclesiastes 10:10 talks about, if the axe is dull, more strength is needed. Yeah, more strength is needed. But if we sharpen, then it means with little effort, I'm able to lead well. I'm able to bring impact I'm able to bring transformation wherever I am because I've been sharpened. So effective leadership must balance the 20% efforts that yield 80% impact. We need to leverage on our strength to maximize performance. So if you think about this 80-20 rule, there are different ways that this rule applies. And it applies in different scenarios. Just to give you a few scenarios there, on the slide, you can see that image there. 20% of your effort gives you 80% of your results. So if you are in your area of strength, if you are operating in your area of passion, if you're operating in an area of leverage, then it means you will be able to be more impactful. And 20% effort will always give 80% results. I've seen this, I think, from the time I started just narrowing down into issues of leadership, issues of authorship, and cutting off a lot of other things. I can see that we are able to have more impact than doing too much. Yeah, doing too much. There's a time I think I was doing a lot. Yeah, and when I started narrowing down, I realized, wow, I think the impact is becoming more than when I was operating, I think, almost 5 businesses, which in a way, they were good years, but I was spreading my wings too much, spreading my resources too wide, spreading my energy too much, and you become more of a jack of all trade, and then you really miss out on your niche. So the moment we are able to synchronize, then we are able to capitalize on our niche, and it gives us a better platform to become a master on something and also become more impactful in life. So there are real life examples given there. 20% of customers bring 80% of revenue. I think some of you are in business and you can attest to that. There are those customers that are very special because probably on the relationship you have had with them. 80% of work is completed by 20% of the team. Yeah, I think that also happens a lot when it comes to group work. We'll see how you'll also handle your group works when we get there. 80% of complaints come from 20% of customers. Okay. 20% of marketing efforts give 80% of results. Okay, that's also another scenario. And then 20% of content drives 80% of traffic. So those are different scenarios. Now, to conclude this this session, remember this leadership balance, that as a leader, I need to balance my growth in terms of the 20% skills, knowledge, experience, or the aptitude with the 80% personal essence, the mindset, the attitude, the beliefs, and the values. And I also need to prioritize those 20% actions or strength that gives me the highest return. The highest return. So I need to zoom down on that. And that way I'll be able to have 80% of the effect or the output. Yeah. So in your area of leverage, 20% input should be able to give you 80% output. There's a lot of struggles in life because of this mismatch. Yeah, we find that too much struggles, too much stress, because there's this element of linkage that we are missing out. It's a hard process to crack through, but I'm sure as we sit down in such kind of forums and just engage, we're able to crack through and trust in God also just to give us that revelation and that knowledge, transforming this information into a more deeper understanding, just to connect more to the true capacity that is in us, and just to narrow down. So this is the leadership balance that I need to maintain as a leader. And as successful leaders must embrace positive mental attitude, because it is a catalyst for the aptitude. Aptitude is the skills that we have talked about. And the mentality and behavioral aspect will significantly influence the application of knowledge, skills, as I've already noted that. And knowledge and skills can be developed through training and exercise. But when it comes to this 80%, which are behavioral competencies, are more difficult to assess and even develop. It takes time, and also the inner drive to be able to really walk through, because how do you grow up your integrity? It's really a very deep embedded aspect to grow. Takes a lot of intentionality, a lot of sometimes coaching and mentorship and developmental experiences to be able to grow those particular areas. So as we commit ourselves as leaders, we need to do an analysis in this leadership challenge. I just need to pause and think about my leadership as a leader. And then I need to identify what are my strengths in terms of my skills, my knowledge, my attitude, and also maybe my giftings, so that I give those 20% more attention. Because if I grow in that, then it means I'll be able to have more impact, I'll be able to have more influence, and I'll be able to be more inspirational. So in conclusion, we are saying that as leaders, we need to focus on developing in our area of strength with the highest level of impact and satisfaction. Because if I'm operating in my area of strength, then I'll be able to be more impactful, and also I'll have the inner satisfaction. For us, with Reverend Kahindi and the others who are training this program, I think we feel like when we are training, we are relaxing. It's like when I'm training, I'm just relaxing, because it's something that flows from me, and you feel satisfied when you are doing it. And that is the linkage and the alignment that we really need to pursue, so that we are more impactful and also enjoy the satisfaction. So just look at this challenge. It is on page, it's on page, from page 19. Page 19, we look at that challenge, and then just think about it. Take time to reflect, take time to think through, and then come up with your own simplified plan on which areas do I need to focus on more. This concept also applies wherever we are leading. Wherever we are leading, we need to identify the 20% of the people, of the leaders who are very core, that helps you to manage the 80%. Yeah, so that you don't suffer, I don't suffer burnout, you don't suffer burnout. You need to identify who are the 20% that I need to really walk close with. Jesus had his 12, and his 12 has taken the world. Yeah, so he could distinguish between the crowd and the 12. So as a leader, the 12 are my 20%. And this 20% will help me to be able to manage my 80%. So that brings us to the end of session one. So I encourage you to take time just to think through. And we'll want to have a very short session after this, just to reflect a little bit on the book review. We engage on the book review during this week, and it's good just to pause and think about what did you learn. So we'll put you in some group. I think it'll be in groups of, one group will have 2 participants and the other one will have 3. So when you're in those, when you get into those groups, quickly just brainstorm on what you learned from the book review. I'm sure even if you don't have the write-up, you might have internalized some aspect. And then you can come up with 3 key lessons that maybe you picked from the lesson. And then when we come back here, we'll be able to share and get to the next session. Yeah, so we'll do that immediately. Just put you into the groups. Yeah, so let me just do that. Reverend Kahindi, probably you can mention something as I create this.
Great, thank you very much for having taken us through the leadership development models. And as you are getting ready to get to your groups, I will just wanted to check, what have we learned? What have we learned? On the chart, I see us back to the hard and soft skills. Now that one is hiyo imepita kitambo. So just unmute you and tell us what you have learned. Just one word or two words that you have that have. Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, I've learned several things, but one of them and the one that have impacted me most is about the 20% of in several businesses. And most of the time, I find myself failing because of being a jack of all trades. So I've realized if I can concentrate on maybe one or two,
yeah,
this would give me more effect, would be more effective than doing all things. I've come to run, and though I've been exercising it.
One more.
As I've been being at the church, I've seen the 20% who have been effective. They have been those who have been helping. I have identified about some 20% of the congregation who have been very, very, very effective. So I concur with him that the 20% is a reality.
Great.
And I thank God that I realize that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. At least concentrate on that 20%. Spend your time on the 20%, and the 20% will push the others. Okay, we are ready to get to groups. For the rest of you, you'll comment later. We'll get a chance. So in your group, you just you get in there. Just get straight to that. Get a leader. When you come back, you give us some feedback on that. Ready for you, Chairman.
Thank you, Reverend. Just to check, Lillian, you are there? Just to confirm, sometimes we need to make sure we have everybody online. Yeah. Thank you, Lillian. I can see you are there. Gerald, you are there? You can just do a thumb up or say something.
Yes, I am.
Great, great, great. Thank you. Bernard, you are there? Bernard Mwangi?
Yes, I am.
Great.
I am, although I logged in a bit late.
Asante sana, karibu. Geoffrey, you are there?
Yes, I'm there.
Great. Eda, you are there? Eda, you are there? You can unmute and say hi.
Hi.
Great. Now, we'll just give you 10 minutes. So once I start the session, you can join the session and then quickly utilize those 10 minutes to discuss about the book review. Then we come back, we'll just share maybe just three, what stood out as you are doing the book review. So let me start the sessions now, and then you just proceed. So you can join the group. Just click and join.
We were talking, and like Lillian, she did not cover the chapter 3. It's only chapter 1 and 2. So when we are sharing that, what we've discovered, we can share a little bit of what we've learned, that as a leader, we have to have the purpose. And also when you are when now you have led, continue and feel that you have accomplished what you wanted, because you see like and someone else can take over, that person can succeed you, to know that you have done your best. So we don't have much time because first of all, some of us we have charity, and I don't know, maybe the network,
Yeah.
or maybe Lydian can add something. Or Bernard.
Okay. Yeah, it's a continuous learning curve. So next class, I'm sure will be better, especially being online. We expect a few challenges here and there. And since you have had the experience today, so I'm sure next time, once we put into the groups, you will have learned a few lessons, and I will be able to maybe do much more. Otherwise, thank you so much, Eda, for representing the team. Room 2, we had Geoffrey, we had Gerald, and we had Pastor Fidel. So the presenter, please continue.
Okay, I'm Felix. So we from the purpose-driven reader. One is that purpose-driven leader. It does not matter how you start, but it matters very much how you finish. So it's better to finish stronger. It doesn't matter how you started. Another thing were able to see is that your identity defines your vision, mission, and purpose. So several things, like also that a purpose-driven leader knows when he finishes or when he accomplishes his mission. And we cited in 2 Colossians chapter 2, verses 14 and 15, which talks about the triumphant end of Jesus' ministry when he triumphed over his enemy. So those were some of the things that we were able to see, but maybe Gerard can add on to what we discussed.
Thank you, Pastor Felix. Gerald, maybe if you have something to add, please proceed.
Yeah, so I think just add on one more thing concerning the purpose-driven leader. They live for a purpose. Things that maybe pick, and also one of the main things that defines a purpose-driven leader is that they get to influence. And influence simply means passing down the passion for your job or for your mission to others. So you don't impose it on others, but you pass it to others through the influence and the impact that you put to the others. So a purpose-driven leader is basically about pushing things, but rather influencing them in a positive way. Yeah, so that's some of what he picked. I will add more as time goes.
Okay, thank you, group 2. I think we just need to do, let's do a digital clap for each group. Thank you so much. We appreciate your input. And this issue of purpose is the backbone of this course. One writer, Simon Sinek, he said, people don't buy into what you do, but they first buy into why you do it. Before they buy into what you do, they buy into why you do it. And if you give people enough reasons, if you give people enough purpose, if you give people enough cause to be able to work with you, then they will sacrifice to any level. So if we get it clearly on purpose, reflect on the issue of the story of David, unless you really have enough reasons and cause, then there are challenges that we cannot be able to withstand as leaders. But with a very deepened understanding and a deeper course, then we can we can walk through this journey. Despite the challenges, we can walk through. Because I'll be saying, I have a reason, I have a cause. So the Goliath might look big, but my cause is much bigger than what I'm seeing. And that is why you find there are leaders who are so resilient. They have failed and failed and failed, but they still come up. They still bounce back. They still stand. And you wonder why? Why are they still standing? It's because of this issue that we are discussing today. So as we walk through, we'll ground ourselves more on this. And I thank you for your interaction. I'm hoping you had a time just to also network and know each other. We'll be doing this quite often so that hata tukikutana kwa street, if we meet in the street, you can be able to say, I've seen you somewhere, even if I'm not sure where it was. Probably we just saw someone on the screen. So we want to move on. We'll do 2 lessons today. So we want to get into the last lesson for today. So let me share my screen so that we can get to the final session. So our lesson 4 is the core 4 leadership skills. What are the core leadership skills that I need to embrace as a leader? We've talked about development model. Now there are 4 skills that I need to single out and grow in as a leader. This is what we're going to look at. So there is a center referred to as Center for Creative Leadership. And you can, the reference is there. It's on online resource. And they talk about leaders and the 4 core leadership skills. So we have built around this. Leaders at different levels, we need to grow and master 4 main leadership skills. And these leadership skills, they transcend across different fields, different areas. It doesn't matter where you lead, but you need, if you have these skills, you'll be able to apply them at any sphere of leadership, either from a church, from a business, from a corporate, from government. These are timeless and boundaryless skills. Now there are 4, and there are gaps there in the manual on page 21. Page 21. So the first skill that I need to develop as a leader is what we call self-awareness. Understand your behaviors, impact, and also the outcomes. Understand, just master yourself. Be able to identify the 20% that makes you excel. Yeah, and then communication, effectively communicate and inspire trust. Communication is very important in leadership because we deal with people and we work with people. So I might capture very good vision, but at the end of the day, I will need to be able to sell it out and be able to get buy-in and be able to walk through with people. So that's why communication is really very important. And then the fourth core leadership skill is influence. So be comfortable sometimes to persuade, promote, and also to delegate. And then the final one is learning agility. Know when to change course and help others to do so. So I'll just do a brief overview on these areas, and we'll start with the self-awareness. So you need to understand your strength, and also you need to understand your weaknesses. So self-awareness, this is a very critical role or a critical aspect for long-term effectiveness as a leader. And to help you undertake a self-awareness, one of the tools that we normally advocate for, there are many tools, but you can do a personal SWOT analysis. Identify your strength, your weakness, your opportunities, and also your threat. This can be done for an individual. It can be done for a corporate, for an organization, for a business. You can undertake a SWOT analysis at all these levels. But here we are talking about me as a leader understanding myself. So I need to critically sit down and do this analysis. Internal strength and also internal weaknesses, as well as external opportunities and external threats. So the church, probably maybe Pastor Felix and Pastor Abel, I don't know if you have ever just internalized and looked at what are the strengths within my church, what are the weaknesses, what are the threats, and what are the opportunities. So that, and this is how we develop a strategy. A strategy is developed based on this. So when you're doing a strategy, kindly mute. Okay, Elise. So thank you. So as you develop a strategic plan, it's anchored on this. So as you do your own strategy as a leader, then you anchor on this. Yeah. So the strength you're looking at, you can take a history back, look at your life journey, maybe education. What are the special skills you possess, special talents, special giftings, yeah, special abilities. Yeah. So, and as you walk through this, as you take the journey, the most important thing you'll want to identify, what are the inputs or what are the areas that if I focus on, I can have 80% output? What are the 20% that I can be able to leverage on to get 80% output? In other words, what areas do I flourish in that I get satisfaction and I'm also more transformational and more impactful as I lead? So those are the strengths. Then weaknesses, maybe some negative work habits, maybe some attitude, personality traits. And when you operate in your area of weakness, you're already weak. So operating that area, you will put 80% effort and it will be able to, you'll be able to get 20% output. So it will be more of a struggle to operate in your area of weakness because you're already weak. Opportunities, we look at opportunities for growth. You look at it maybe from the environment. What are the new development in terms of technology? What can you leverage on in the environment to be able to flourish? Threats, we look at obstacles in personal development, maybe in the industry, in the community. What are some of the threats? In terms of the technological advancement and many other dimensions that you might look at. So for the strength, you maximize. And you can also maximize on the opportunities. Weakness, you try and figure out, are there some that I can be able to convert into strength? Yeah. And if there are some that you cannot be able to convert, then you look for complementary. You complement by bringing other people on board to be able to walk through with them so that you are able to complement those areas. Yeah, so this is a strategy when it comes to the corporate world. They are very good in this. They delegate areas that are not their core. Yeah, so that they focus on their core. So if this is our core mandate is training leadership. So we just focus on that. If we need to train on any other area, we bring an expert who can be able to to train on that area so that we don't get distracted and also we are able to be more impactful in our area. So as you take the analysis, the strength you build and enhance, weaknesses you resolve and also maybe reduce and convert if possible. Opportunities, you exploit them, maximize on them. For the threats, you can avoid them or you can see how to evade them or you see how to overcome them. Yeah, so as you do this, you look at that. The other tool of self-awareness is what we call a personality type. And I'll just talk about one. There are so many personality types, but I'll talk about the colors, personality colors. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just focus on the 4. Anybody who knows his or her personality color? Yeah. Anybody who knows? Eda, do you know your personality color? Eda? Personality color?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Gerald, Gerald, you know your personality color, or you have ever interacted and just analyzed yourself in terms of personality colors? Gerald?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so I'll just sample 4, and these are indicators. These are indicators. We don't lock people into a personality color, but they give you an indication of yourself and of the people that you are leading, okay? So that you're able to tell, oh, this is a yellow, and this is how I need to manage a yellow. Or I'm a yellow, and this is how I need to manage myself as a yellow. They are just dominant. Actually, you might have a mix of colors, but always one will be more dominant. Now, the yellow, we classify them as caregiver. Blue, they are adventurers. Green, they are analytical. Red, they are passive and aggressive. Yeah. So if you look at yourself and look maybe at around you, even your children, your husband, your wife. And for the yellow, these are the guys who say, let's do it together. They are caregiver. Let's do it together. For the blue, they always focus on, let's do it right. Let's do it right. Are we doing it right? As much as they're adventurous, but they also want to be right. For the reds, let's do it now. Yeah. You look at the meetings, there are those guys who will ask, what are we waiting for? Yeah, we need to be on the road. We are taking so much time talking. Yeah, so the reds are very aggressive, and they focus on, let's do it now. For the green, being analytical, let's do it in a caring way. Let's do it in a caring way. Let's get in the details. I'll share, there's a photo I forgot, and I will share that photo in the next class. There's a book I was reading on self-awareness, and I saw a very interesting photo, which I'll share with you in the next class, just on the issues of personality. Now, just to give a brief description, for the blue, they're very cautious, they're precise, deliberate, they question things, and they're also very formal. So who is a blue? Just think about it as you look at yourself. For the green, very caring, encouraging, sharing, patient, and very relaxed. Yeah. For the red, competent, demanding, determined, strong-willed, purposeful, very aggressive. And they can also domineer. The more they can domineer the discussions. For the yellow, they are sunshine. These are social, dynamic, demonstrative, enthusiastic, persuasive. These are guys who are just enjoying life. They are, for them, we live once. You don't live twice. So they advocate, enjoy life. Yeah. Yellow, sometimes they can look a little bit of careless in a way, because for them, they take life to a certain level. They don't take it too serious. They don't take it too relaxed, but they enjoy life. So look at this. Blue, they're cool. Green, caring. Red, they can be fiery. Sunshine, yellow, they can be a little bit of a sunshine and caregiver. So where are you? Which is your dominant color? which is your dominant color. You might have a mix of them, but one of them will always stand out and you'll feel like, wow, I think this is more dominant. So this is another tool for self-awareness. And it's important to note this for yourself and for the people that you are leading so that you know, you appreciate the diversity first, appreciate the diversity, and also you also position people correctly. Yeah, position people correctly, and we appreciate the different perspective, because a red's perspective is very different from yellow's perspective. When they look at things, they will look at it from very different perspective. Okay, so because of time, I think I will not pause here. I'll just move on. The second aspect is communication. The second core skill is communication. From the gap, when we were looking at the leadership gap, we pointed out one of the areas that has a huge gap is on leadership communication, effective communication. Yeah, and leaders who communicate effectively, there is a gap. Yeah, there are times we communicate, but are we effective? Are we connecting? Are we listening? Are we hearing? Are we there? Yeah, are we passive? So these are the questions that we keep on asking ourselves. And that's why we have to keep on talking about this basic skill. These are basic skill, but you find it across. Everywhere you'll hear people talking about communication. As much as it's a basic, it's also an area that needs a lot of development. So communicating information and ideas effectively is consistently amongst the most critical skills of a successful leader. A successful leader will always find that they are very good communicator. And communication is embedded when on some different styles of leadership, like participative leadership. Participative leadership requires a lot of effective communication, collaborative and also relational leadership. And these are very, very important leadership styles that we need to impress. So emotional and social intelligence plays a big role in effective communication. So here, as we talk about effective communication, on page 22, there are some key aspects. We are talking about starting from maybe the writing clarity. We are talking about speaking with the clarity, using active listening skills. These are all part of the equation, amongst many others, like encouraging discussion, building trust, conveying the vision, and also being strategic in your communication and in your intention. Always have the bigger picture of the communication. You see, if you look at the style of Jesus in his communications, he really started from very basic concept. He didn't take people out of the context. So if he meets you in a well, that's where the discussion will start. If he meets you fishing, you will start from there, because that is what you understand well. This is your context. So if I talk about fish to Peter, we'll be able to agree. But Jesus knew the trajectory of the discussion. So he'll take you from there, and then he will shift you and take you to the bigger picture. Yeah, and show you that fishing is not only limited to what you know, but you can also upscale the fishing to a bigger scale. But I think that's one of the way of effective communicators. Yeah, there are times I was reading a certain research, and it was talking about leaders sometimes being abstract. Yeah, you are communicating to people, but your language is too far away from where they are, is too far away from what they really relate with. So we try to get in an environment and ask myself, what are these people talking about? What do they understand well? Yeah, like Paul was talking about your own poet says this. So can we talk about your own and what they say? And then we build around that. So that's connecting is very important when it comes to issues of leadership. It requires a lot of time, effort, and also deliberate planning. You need to do it in advance so that when you get there, you are able to know This is where we'll start, but we'll walk all the way to this certain level. John Maxwell, everyone communicates, few connect. So do I just communicate or do I connect? Yeah, and people may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. And Steve Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Seeking really understanding affirms the other person and what they have to say. So as we engage in a communication, I'm engaging to understand, but not to reply. I'm engaging to understand the perspective. There's a time I was in leadership role outside the country, and we were seated with people from different countries. And I realized it's very hard to understand each other if you have grown from different cultures, different environment. And one of the key qualities that I really had to refine is to really listen and try first to understand the other person's perspective before I could push my own perspective. At the beginning, it was a big challenge because everybody was pushing their own perspective until we learned to listen and said, take a minute, I think I need to pause. And when we started pausing, we started understanding what the other person was saying. Yeah, this is what he has been trying to say. But all the while, from my environment, this is how I've learned and this is how I communicate. So I think as we deepen this quality of effective communication, we also learn a lot. We learn a lot because when I'm listening more, I'm able to pick a few things that I would have missed out if I'm not an effective communicator. Number three, I need to close this. Influence. The key to successful leadership today is influence, not just authority. Yeah, you might have authority, but you don't have the influence. Yeah, so I think I need to make sure what I really have is influence before even the authority, before even the title. So influence is about working effectively with people and requires ability to sometimes to be very logical and compelling and engaging, and also issues of give and take. I think those are very important words that I've mentioned there, and we'll get back to them when we'll be talking about project proposal. We'll be looking at, are you logical? Is your argument compelling? Are you engaging? So those are some of the issues that we'll look at when we'll be doing project proposal, listening to the project proposal. Issues of influence, we are talking about developing your influencing skills, which helps you as a leader to communicate the vision, because I've said leadership is about vision casting and vision sharing. That's a key component of leadership. And as I develop the vision, I need to communicate. I need to share it out. So I need that language of influencing people, showing them the value, showing them the why they need the cause, so that they can align their efforts and be able to build commitment to work together. Influence will allow a leader to get things done and achieve desirable outcome, and also influence is focused more on steering long-range vision and goals through inspiration and motivation, not manipulation. So there are 3 ways to influence: logical appeals. That's why I talked about being logical, just being able to present case or present whatever you're sharing, a vision or a project, in a more logical way. Emotional appeals, connecting with the people. Cooperative appeal, being more involving, collaborative as you communicate. Finally, learning agility. A leader's ability to be constantly in a learning mode. A leader needs to be constantly in a learning mode. And active learning is necessary for us as a leader to keep on growing. So active learning involves issues of recognizing when new habits or new behaviors or new skills or attitude are needed, and accepting responsibility for developing them. COVID-19 has taught us a lot, that sometimes we have to pause and learn, relearn. Drop some strategies, adopt some strategies. And we have to know when the jawbone works and when it doesn't work. Samson knew this very well. He used the jawbone very well, but when it was, it could not function in another scenario, he had to drop it. And I think as a leader, it's very hard to drop something that works. It's very hard to drop something that worked. Now, sometimes we still stick to them, but they're not really effective. They're not giving us the results. They are consuming our energies. And the world is really shifting. It's a lot of dynamic changes. Maybe as a pastor, the tools for evangelism, there's a shift. And now how do I reach out in this kind of a dynamic world? So these are the issues that learning agility focuses on. Yeah, so being able to learn from mistake, asking myself, asking the team insightful questions, and also being very open to feedback, learning a new skill quickly, taking advantage of opportunities, and also responsibility. So learning agility involves creating a culture of learning to myself and to the organization, and more specifically to my 20%, so that I can be able to inspire them also to be able to learn. Finally, for this week, the second challenge is to take a minute and pause and undertake your own personal leadership SWOT analysis. What are your strengths that if you focus on them, you'll be able to have 80% impact and also satisfaction? 2, what are some of the weaknesses that you feel, the areas you feel that you are weak on, and can they be converted into strength? If not, who else can you bring on board to complement these weaknesses? 3, what are the opportunities around you, as a person and also as an organization or as a business? How do you exploit these opportunities? 3, what are some of the threats? What are the emerging issues that can impact the organization or can impact you as a person? And how do you mitigate some of these areas? So this is the discussion that we want you to engage in this week as you reflect on what we have learned today. Otherwise, I just want to pause there and I continue to thank you for your time. I trust that as we continue this way, our country will be safe, our organization will have better quality of leadership, and we'll be able to really bring the change. We'll be able to bring the light in the darkness. It's one thing to talk about the darkness, it's the other thing to purpose to turn on the light. And in this program, we want to turn on the light so that we'll not just be talking about the darkness in our country, in our organization, but we'll be saying that we are coming in as the light so that we can be able to shift, bring a shift to the leadership land space. Thank you so much. I want to stop there. And I just want to maybe very quickly take your final thought or your final reflection as we come to the close of the session. And I'll do this quite fast. What is your takeaway? What are just the one thing that you're saying for sure? Even if I'll miss anything else today, I cannot forget this. Let me give you an opportunity, just in a few seconds. I'll start with Eda. Today, Eda, I've been starting with you since in my screen you are next to me. You are seated next to me. So I'll start with you, Eda. What's your takeaway for this week? You can unmute and share your takeaway.
I'm sorry I joined late because I found you almost finishing chapter 3. But there are so many about some things that I've learned. It's about to focus on development and strength and to have inner satisfaction, and also about communication It doesn't matter how I started, but how I'm going to finish. And then as a leader, to live with a purpose. Again, uh, about influence, to be comfortable, to pursue and delegate. So there are a few things I've learned today. I thank God. Because as a reader, I have to understand my strength. That one I've said. So there are some of the things I can say it is changing my perspective the way I'm learning.
Well, thank you, Eda. Yeah, it's our desire that at least this will be informed and transformed. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So and remember the skill set, the heart set, as we are targeting to get to the heart set. Yeah. So thank you so much, Pastor Felix. Can share your reflection, your takeaway.
My takeaway is that it's about the 20%. I've realized that I've been wasting on the 80% rather than to produce. I've been wasting my time on the 80% to produce 20% instead of using the 20% strength to produce the 80%, which is better. So that's the best I've learned today because I'm a jack of all trades. I've also realized that I've been trying several things, but most of them, they do fail. But I've learned that if I concentrate on maybe one or two, the 20% of myself, I think I'll be better. I'll be a better person. So I just so much, but I know that for the 20% part of it.
Thank you, Pastor Felix. Yeah, I think that's something very important. Even in the academic world, the higher you go, the narrower you become. So by the time you are a professor, we expect just to hear something very specific, but the impact, the word is the impact. Yeah, you do an innovation that changes the world. Yeah, so the leadership, the triangle of success, at the peak, we have the most successful, but these are specialists. They don't broaden too much. They try to narrow down. This is one of the best lessons that I've learned as a person. And before that, I was running a kinyozi, I was running a cyber, I was running a greenhouse, I was running a taxi, I'm employed. I don't know how I was managing all this, but now that I'm just narrowing down, I think I can see the fruits and I can also feel the satisfaction, which is very, very important to us all. So I think we need just to think more about that. And it will require a lot of courage to prune, Yeah, to drop something that you feel, a jawbone that has worked and you have to drop it. You really need to be very courageous and just go to help us to be able to do it. Let me not speak much on that. Gerald, your takeaway? You can unmute and share your takeaway, Gerald.
Thank you. My takeaway is on the 80-20 principle job. It's just a reminder that 20% of my clients will 80% of my revenue. Focus more 20% who are bringing in the revenue. So another thing is on that chart of colors, personality colors, it's made me to rethink about myself and my 4 ways. Because I guess I'm a red and I tend to dominate. Most of the time I'm impatient with people. I usually want them to think the way I think. And I kind of realized that this is, at times it doesn't work. Then sometimes I communicate to the people I lead and I don't find any response. Sometimes I'm quiet. So that means that probably I didn't, they didn't get my vision. So I'm not able to influence them to move in the same direction with me. So I guess I'll work on improving my communication skills. The other take home is I'm learning agility. I want to be in a constant way of learning, and that's why I'm thankful for this program. And I hope I believe by the time we're done with the 12 weeks, I'll be a better person, a better leader. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Gerald, for that authentic analysis. That's very authentic. And that's the way now we become better. So thank you so much for that feedback. Mr. Mwangi, kindly unmute and share your takeaway.
Good evening, team.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much. The Pareto principle, in most cases, there are small things we ignore or we overlook in the short run, but in the long term, they destroy the strategic plan that we may have laid. So it's important to look even at small things that would bring us a disastrous effect or impact at the end of at the end of what we are planning to do. So this principle is critical in that if we have to get 100% or 100% if impact, we need to look of what we have to get through the process. Pareto principle is my take.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bernard. Finally, I'll take, for the interest of time, I'll call upon Geoffrey to share his takeaway. Kindly unmute and share.
Okay, good evening, facilitators and participants. Thank you. For me, I have learned the power of Pareto rule in every domain of life, and that it is important to focus on the areas of strength so that you're able to drive impact and satisfaction. And that is what I'll go for. And secondly, I have learned that it is important always for you to be an effective communicator. You need to start from people's contexts and then you drive the trajectory. I think that is a very important thing. It's fantastic. If you can be moved from where they are, then now you can be able to change their minds along the way. And then I've also learned about the importance of self-awareness of personality colors. That is something I've heard today, and powerful. Is full. If you can understand your color that you lead, able to be perspectives, you can be able to manage people's feelings and thoughts and thought processes very effectively. And lastly, the of being agile. I think for me, I feel that now I need purpose to be a learning person throughout, so that I can be able to lead myself and others as well. Thank you so much.
Wow, fantastic is the word. I'm really also learning a lot, I think, as we engage like this. You know, Obama said, if you want to take people higher, respect first where they are. Yeah, respect where they are, appreciate where they are, and then you embark on the journey together. Yeah, so that's some of the laws that I'm sure are very important when it comes to communication. And I'm so grateful that we are communicating. I'm grateful we are communicating because that feedback tells us that we are communicating and something is happening in our heart. We always tell our students, as you write on the manual, be telling God, write these ones in my heart. Write them in my heart so that I may leave them out. We have extended today. We apologize for that. And we just want to pause there. I don't know if there is anything, but let me just communicate this. We are planning for a one-day retreat on 6th of March. We thought about bringing cohort 7 and 8 on board as much as you have not finished, but we say let's open it to cohort 7 and 8. It's not mandatory, but it is highly, highly recommended that you be there. It will be a learning session. It will be a very interactive engagement. We're having people from Turkana, from different places, those who have been learning online, coming together. So I'm sure it will also be another setup to be able to learn and engage more. So if you haven't registered and you plan to be there, please do so. We are closing by 5th of this month so that we can do the other logistics. Otherwise, I'll share immediately after this, I will share a feedback link so that you can do an evaluation based on the submission of the review and also the submission of the summary and also the review of the manual. That's very important. That's how we can maximize the benefit of this program. And then finally, I just want to thank all of you and I wish you a blessed night. Let's keep on learning together, keep on the spirit of being agile as we continue learning. Reverend Kahinti, I don't know if there's anything I've forgotten, I've left out. Kindly unmute.
There will be t-shirts for that 6th and thereafter. So when the design is out and the final that, you will have to buy one for yourself. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. We can unmute and share the words of grace together at your own pace. Kindly unmute. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's share the word of grace together, and may the grace
Our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God, the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore.
Amen.
Amen.
So the link will be shared tomorrow so that you can be able to catch up if you missed any part of the lesson. Thank you and have a blessed night.
You too.
Night.